Good morning everybody and welcome back to another update video. Now today would normally be a weekly recap, however the update has been pushed back until tomorrow. Now with that said, Tuesday morning Jagex released a whole new set of raid rewards for the new Tombs of Amascut raid. And on top of releasing designs for new items, they also went a bit more in depth on the already announced items. And probably most important of all, we get to finally realize how badly I misspelled Masori equipment in my last update video. I'm still going to do a weekly recap tomorrow. I just thought this deserved its own video, and this will be a little bit more opinion based. Anyway guys, if you do enjoy the update videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to make sure you don't miss any upcoming videos. And apparently you also have to hit the bell icon to actually be notified. Why YouTube did that, I don't know. Anyway guys, let's get started. Now I have already covered the Tombs of Amascut in another video, and if you want to know more in depth of all the information that was available when it released, I will leave a link in the description for that video. However, to summarize quickly, the Tombs of Amascut is a new raid in the desert, making it the third official raid. Now the Tombs of Amascut is going to be locked behind a quest beneath Cursed Sands, which will have mid-level requirements to it. And of course, like any good raid, there are going to be some very powerful rewards. Now beyond the actual raid rewards, which we'll get to in a minute here, there looks like there is one additional reward that is going to be added in with this content. However, it's going to be coming from the quest. For completing the Beneath Cursed Sands quest, you're going to get 1 quest point, access to the raid of course, 15,000 agility experience, and most important of all, an upgraded Keris. Now for those who don't know, the Keris is a very underused item that you get once you've completed the contact quest. It's kind of similar to a Demon Bane weapon or a Dragon Bane weapon, meaning it does more damage versus a specific monster. In this case, it does 33% more damage against cow fights and Scarabites. So not a whole lot of uses. However, that is going to change with the addition of the new raid. Now I really love that they are adding on to this item because it's already a very cool lore related item that definitely could use a bit of love to make it a bit more appealing. Now as we're already talking about the Keris, let's talk about the upgraded Keris. Now when you complete Below Cursed Sands, you're going to get the Keris Partisan, which already on its own is going to be a massive upgrade over a regular Keris. Now if you look at them side by side, the new Keris Partisan has a much stronger stab and slash bonus, however it also has gained a significant crush bonus, which Jagex states should prove useful during the Tombs of Amascut and against any other beetle-like enemy, for example the Cowfight Queen. Now that's a really important piece of information because it seems to indicate that crush will be, at least to some degree, a very potent attack style in the new raid. Now the Keris Partisan is going to be a tier 80 weapon, which if you just look at the stats seems kind of odd because they're very low. However, that's not it. The Keris Partisan will have a jewel socket in the weapon. The jewels are going to be obtained as a rare reward from the Tombs of Amascut, and the jewels will provide different effects for the weapon. That said, you can only have 1 jewel in at a time, and they're not going to be tradable. So they have proposed a few jewel buffs down here that they are considering. First up here we have the Eye of the Corruptor, which would add damage over time effects to attacked enemies. So it gets kind of similar to Poison, but maybe more of a corruption effect. The next one here would be Jewel of the Sun, which would apply a debuff to an attacked NPC, which would cause them to take higher damage for a sustained period of time. And finally here we have the Breach of the Scarab, which would add a 33% accuracy buff against cow fights, scarabs, and beetles. Which presumably would stack with the Keris' additional damage. So a really interesting reward, however, because the stats are so low, it might be more of a utility or supportive item, but I could see it having quite a bit of utility. Now another brand new item that they revealed yesterday is called Osmumten's khopesh. Well that's, oh man. This new item is primarily a stab weapon, which is going to boast accuracy comparable to an Elder Maul, and an attack speed of 5. Now this is going to be a tier 82 attack weapon, and they expect this item's DPS to be similar to a rapier tier weapon on opponents with low defense and much greater damage per second on opponents with higher defense. Now this is going to work because they're going to introduce a brand new mechanic for this item. Now for any weapon in RuneScape, you always roll somewhere between 0 and your maximum hit. However, the khopesh is going to be different. The range of damage that you can do is going to be normalized a bit. So for example, if normally your damage range is somewhere between 0 and 60, with this new weapon it would now be somewhere between 9 and 51. Now I'm not sure if this means that you will just never miss your opponent, or if it means if you have a successful attack roll, you're never going to hit a 0. However, all of this essentially means that this is going to be a very consistent weapon for dealing with high defense targets. Now the khopesh also has a special attack, which is going to increase your max hit to its true max hit for 1 attack, as well as boosting the accuracy. Now, there is a pretty big difference between never missing with a weapon and hitting more consistently when you do hit. Now, because this weapon is positioned as a good weapon to use against high defense monsters, it would seem to indicate that this weapon just never misses, but would have a slightly more subdued high end. Now, moving on here to another newly mentioned item, that's going to be a ring item called the Lightbearer. The Lightbearer is a ring with no attack, defense, or other bonuses. However, it does have a very unique effect when equipped. Essentially, when you have this ring on, your special attack will regenerate 100% faster, so around twice as quick or around 15 seconds per 10%. Now, Jagex says that they think this ring will shine in places where kill times are longer, for example, Bandos, Armadillo, or the Abyssal Sire, or maybe even use it while woodcutting or fishing. It's hard to imagine too many circumstances where you would sacrifice your ring slot just for this, especially when we have the Arceus spellbook, but it is an interesting item. Alright, so the big reveal here, how do you write Masori? Well, right after I released that video, I just thought to myself, I'm an idiot, it's probably just misery. But no, it wasn't that. So we weren't that far off base, but it's Masori. So we did talk a little bit about what the Masori equipment will offer. Essentially, the main benefit here is a new effect called Low Life, which activates whenever you're below 40% hit points. Now, the Masori equipment is a top, bottom, and an amulet. And when you're below 40% hit points and Low Life is active, both the top and bottom are going to surpass the Armadillo chestplate and chain skirt to make them offensively more powerful. Now, the Masori amulet has a utility effect that actually will reduce your hit points down to 40 or 40% of your hit points. And like the top and bottom, it has a low life effect as well, and when you're in low life state, the Masori amulet is going to be more powerful than the Zenite equivalent. Now, interestingly here, it does not specify the Amulet of Anguish. It just says any Zenite equipment, which means you could theoretically use this amulet with melee, I suppose. When you're in low life, the amulet will have plus 12 melee strength and plus 7 range strength, which if we compare that to a Torture, the Torture only has plus 10. Now, that said, this armor does have a fairly big drawback. Not only do you have to stay in a low life state to get the full effect of the armor, which means you need to be at most 40 hit points, the defensive stats are also incredibly poor. I mean, absolutely terrible compared to Armadillo or Bandos. Just to put it into perspective here, the Masori chestplate is similar to a bronze plate body, defensively at least. And while there are not that many circumstances that have unavoidable damage over 40, you're still going to have to eat very often, and it's going to be a very high risk reward item. And finally here, they give a little bit more context and information for the other two rewards that they touched on at the summer reveal, and that would be the Heka of Tumeken and the Ward of Elidinis. Now, the Heka of Tumeken is once again a very interesting new mage weapon with a new mechanic. Now, the Heka of Tumeken is going to be a tier 84 magic weapon, making it, I think, one of the highest, and it has a built-in spell that is going to be using Soul Runes and Chaos Runes, which is awesome because Soul Runes have historically not had very much of an item sync. So the Heka of Tumeken has an attack rate of 2 ticks, which is incredibly quick. I think that's the same as a blowpipe. However, to offset its attack speed, they're going to make the Heka scale more similar to other magic weapons. The faster attacks are only going to benefit from 50% of your magic strength, meaning they're going to be a lot weaker. However, on every 4th attack, you're going to get a much stronger, but slower attack that is going to benefit from 150% of your magic strength bonus, so it's going to be a big hit. Also, the attack range of the weapon is going to be a lot shorter than other staves as well, with it being 6 rather than 7. And finally here we have the Ward of Elidinis, which we now know a little more information about. First up here, the requirements to wear it are going to be 80 magic, 80 defense, and 80 prayer. And once again, it's going to drop in a broken state. To repair it, you're going to need an arcane sigil, 10,000 soul runes, and 20 mil. It is by far the more simple item. It just straight up has a 5% magic damage bonus on it and 25 magical accuracy, making it by far the strongest mage offhand and a very powerful weapon. Anyway guys, that's it for all of the new weapons. Some really interesting mechanics here, and I do like that we are getting some more powerful items here. Obviously there are new mechanics and there's going to be new niches to fill, and some of these aren't straight up upgrades. However, it's a good mix of items. The only item that I think feels a little bit out of place is the Lightbearer. It just seems like a bit of an underwhelming item to have along with all the other ones, and it could make sense to add it into other content. So currently it looks like the raid itself is going to have 7 new items along with some new jewels, which is pretty similar to raids 1 and 2. I think there is a bit of sentiment in the community to have maybe less rewards per raid. That should have the effect of preserving the value of the items they do add, quality over quantity, But anyway, we're going to see what happens, and that's pretty much it for all of the new items. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow in the weekly recap. Now before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. A huge thanks to Guy Fawkes, WolfoftheHunt, Timothy Chen, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed to the Dragon tier. All of you guys are awesome. Thank you for your continued support. Also a huge thank you to CJ Ruse, Mexose, Lord Dojin, yoyosup89, Birdbot, and Base Titch. Thanks again, guys. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. Get immortalized in all of my future videos. You can get access to my video release schedule, as well as a custom role in my Discord server. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.